Joe, it's up to you.
Okay, we've got 30 seconds more. uh, okay, Carl is getting the slides up. Here we go. Perfect timing, Carl. Okay, good morning, fellas. I'd like to welcome you to our first warm weather meeting of the year. Weather's certainly been great, and I hope everybody's had a chance to get outside. Let's start our meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's again have a moment of reflection that with the good weather coming, we will also have good news with the pandemic, although there's been a little uptick in positivity rates. It's still down below the 4%, and hopefully it drops down again to close to 2% where it was a couple of weeks ago. And we all stay healthy. Thank you. We recently had one of our members pass away, Herb Cahan, on March 15th at the age of 92. Herb was born in Portchester, attended Portchester High School, North Carolina State, where he studied forestry management. He served in the Army in Korea in 1950. And he worked in the family business, Interstate Lumber. I believe they were originally in Stamford. They were on Sullick Street. He served as president of Temple Bethel from 1975 to 1977, was a supporter of the Anti-Defamation League, and was an SMAS member for the past 3 years. We'll have a moment of silence in memory of Herb. Thank you. And if anybody, I didn't know Herb. I don't believe I really ever met him. If anybody knows Herb and would like to say a few words, please come in. I don't see anybody. Okay. All right. A little early for 2 days, but I'd like to wish everybody a happy Passover. And as it says, I hope you're blessed with peace, prosperity, and joy. And in the words of my old neighborhood, Zis and Pesach.
Good job.
Very well said, Joe.
I remember I grew up in no man's land, halfway between the Jewish and Italian neighborhoods. So one thing, we're going to have our board meeting today, and I just saw that Steve sent out the invitation with the link to the board meeting about a half hour or so ago, an hour ago. So all board members should have that or look for it on their emails.
If any board member didn't get it, please text me or email me or do something. I'll get it out to you.
They could chat to you.
There are a number of items that we want to discuss at the board meeting, and most of it centers around looking forward, positive thoughts on looking forward to getting back to meeting each other live one way or another. And a number of the items, we have to at least plan ahead, although we don't have control over how and when we meet. But the thought is that we want to, once we get the okay, we want to be off and running, and we're going to look into our collective crystal ball and plan ahead for that. So wish us luck in in our guidance during this meeting. And today's speaker, as you heard, is Julie Jason. Julie's been with us every other year or so. She with updates on tax information regarding investments, and today she's going to be updating us on the impacts of optimizing the impact of gifts to children and grandchildren. So that follows pretty much on what Emily was saying earlier. So Julie's usually very interesting and will answer a lot of questions. So please stay with us for her presentation. Stuart?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, okay. Good morning, everyone. Good to see everyone today. I have 50 guys on. As you can see, next 4 weeks, some very interesting speakers coming our way. We all know Jim Cameron. He's been around several times. I know about, two and a half years ago, and before that. He's going to give us his view of what he thinks transportation will look like in the coming future. So he should be very interesting. He's also very entertaining, as you know. On April 8th, you got Judge Dominic Calabrese talking about the incapacities, conservatorship, and the probate court. He is currently the probate judge in the what's called Region 2 in the Southbury area. So he would be a very interesting speaker. Next on April 15th, back by popular demand, is Mark Albertson, historian. If you recall, at the last time he spoke to us, he kind of mentioned at the end that he had created some new presentations on well-known folks. And so we've invited him to talk to us about Laurel and Hardy. So we'll be doing that on April 15th. And last on this list is Mark Noonan, who's a historian. He'll talk to us about Robert Moses and how he got to power, what he had to do to get there. He was definitely a visionary in the New York area, metropolitan area, and the New York State. And that should be a really fascinating talk. So that's the lineup for the next 4 weeks. And as I mentioned last week, the schedule is full through the end of June, and we're looking for speakers already for the fall. Thanks, and have a good day.
Thank you, Stu. Ira.
Good morning, everyone. Last week, we had an online attendance of 51, as you can see. The minutes last week, there was one misspelled word. Actually, it was a typo. The word realtor was spelled incorrectly, but anyway, it was corrected. And are there any other additions or corrections to the minutes last week? Joe, turning it over to you.
Okay, we'll let that typo slide, Ira. Your record is still unblemished. Thank you for all you've done, and yes, the minutes are approved.
9:20 discussion groups. This morning we had Emily Boothroyd, who's an associate of Lori Price.
Larry?
The current schedule is next week, April Fool Day, but we won't have foolish current events, just real current events by Joe D. On April 8th, Art Feldman has stepped up and will speak on Senator Patrick Moynihan, his legacy and social justice. April 15th, Bob Butke, his technology talk, and April 22nd, Joe D comes back to talk about investing. Next slide.
Hey, Joe. Whoa.
Yes, Stu.
Larry, is Emily, does she live in Connecticut? Like if we go live, can she come actually and visit us?
It sounded like she is a Connecticut resident.
Good, good.
And I expect that she is. Joe Mattel will have to actually check onto that and ask the question. But also she's 6 months pregnant, so I don't know when she'll be available. At any rate, yesterday we had a walk, which was at Irwin Park in front of this magnificent tree. Attendance was a little sparse because of the fact I think it was cloudy and a few people did not make it, but we look forward to having a bigger attendance. Next week, the walk's in Waveney Park in New Canaan, which is a beautiful, beautiful setting. And I look forward to having more people. It's great to chat as you walk. You get exercise, fresh air, scenery, and conversation. So next slide, please. The golf get-together on Monday, April 12th. I can tell you because I played golf one day this past week. Course is in great shape. The greens are very, very fast. The greenskeeper was busy rolling them, so they were like very, very firm. The players, there's a limit of 20. We have one spot left. It's first come, first serve. And we'll be putting out the starting times probably this week. It's between 9 and 10 o'clock. Assuming we got a 20th, it'll be 5 foursomes. And for whoever wants to be the 20th, contact Brian or Howie. Howie or Brian, you have anything further to say?
I would like to get a feeling from anybody who's going if they will be attending the lunch or not, because I'd like to make some reservations upstairs at the distillery. So all you guys, and I think Brian will probably be able to send out an email to get the some sort of attendance so we can set that up. But we're looking forward to a great day. Thank you, guys.
I can tell you I will be having lunch.
And yes, I am going to send out another email to confirm everybody's attendance.
Okay. Have you gotten the 20th yet, Brian?
Nope, not yet. Still waiting for number 20.
Okay. Step up, guys. It'll be fun. Weather's great. And the course isn't great.
If we don't get 20, we're still going to go with 19. You'll
Correct.
just have a threesome.
Yep.
That's correct.
Okay. This is something that I'm unaware of that somebody presented, but
Alan Krim. I'll jump in here.
Okay.
Carl.
It's what Alan on the.
Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah. So the what we're teeing up here, with this in this COVID era, it's very difficult to find a trip destination that would work for us and will host us. But it worked out that in contacting Woodlawn Cemetery down in the Bronx, that it would be a attractive outing for us. Woodlawn has turned itself into something of a tourist attraction. It does provide a outdoor setting, perhaps an hour or hour and a half walk. They will provide a guide which will touch upon highlight descriptions and stories along the way. I would anticipate being able to find a restaurant down there with an outdoor seating facility for lunch. As regards getting to the cemetery area, I'm anticipating that we would be doing self-drive or connecting up with a friend, not full carpools. Perhaps we might be limiting it to only those of us who have been vaccinated, which I imagine is the great majority. And I'll be bringing this question up, at the board meeting later today. So to proceed, I'm suggesting that signups will be done by either emailing me or calling me. And at this juncture, are there any questions that come to mind? At this point, we'll have another opportunity to talk about it next week.
Okay, Alan, just a clarification, as we indicated a few weeks ago, any activities that we do, because we're all in a vulnerable state, are going to require people to have been vaccinated or have antibodies present. So it's not a question of will we will.
Okay, anything else from anybody?
Not on this, but again, I just want to mention that at the last meeting, we talked about Tai Chi, but I haven't heard anybody of interest who said they would be participating. I think that's an interesting activity. Carl Shapiro, have you heard anything from anybody who've expressed interest in participating?
No, I have not.
Well, I think we took a hand count last week, and there were about
half a dozen,
8 or 10 people that indicated they wanted to once we found out more information.
Okay. Carl, did you finalize with the person? You mentioned some woman that I think, gentleman who did it at the senior center, who was less expensive.
I haven't reached out to them because I thought in the last meeting we said we were going to discuss it at the board meeting because of the fee.
Okay.
$50, so I was waiting for that.
Okay.
I can get back to them at any time once we decide how we want to initiate it.
Okay. Thank you. I believe that's it. Stu, the next one is the picnic. Should be the next slide. Stu?
Yep. Okay, thanks, Larry. Yeah, the good news is, I guess we passed all the tests with the city. They're going to be sending me, I got a notice this morning, they're going to be sending me the permit, so we're locked in for that now. Hopefully all the rules will be changed. We'll get everybody to go. It should be a great, probably the first big event where we'll all get together. So keep your fingers crossed. Looking forward to that. Thanks.
Carl?
No change in the membership numbers for this week. Do we have, no, and as far as the new member is concerned, we lost our one member, Herb, so we're down to 209. Are there any guests or visitors online with us this morning? If not, I'd like to remind everybody to keep new members in mind. If you make acquaintances or run into a neighbor or a friend you haven't seen for a while and they seem like good candidates for membership in our organization, please suggest that they go to our website and log in for our meetings, or take an active role and send them a copy of your email and make it a personal invitation. Thank you.
Okay, fellowship. We actually do have some good news this week, so let's start off with that. Who'd like to share the good news? I know Peter Fortman, you've got some good news.
Yes, I do. As many of you know, I have active cancer, at least all the book club members know. And I've actually had this cancer since 2003. So I've been dealing with it for a good long time with injections and pills and blood and radiation. And I have some news about my PSA. As most of you know, the PSA is a measurement of the condition of the prostate. And my prostate had been going very badly. I had scores of 7, 10, 19, 29, 34, 67, really incredibly high numbers. And the good news is that last week I found out that because of the chemo treatments I've been taking, the PSA finally did a turnaround, and now it's down to 37. Nowhere near the 0 where it ought to be, but it's finally, after all these months, taken a turn in the right direction. So that's what my good news is.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's great news, Peter. Really happy for you there. And I know from my own experience, it's really a great feeling. So good job there. Anybody else have news to share? Births, anniversaries, graduations, awards? Well, actually, we do have an award that I want to call out to our own Stu Madison, who's being honored at a virtual gala by Temple Sinai for his role, particularly over the past year, as a key member of the Temple's technical support team. It's recognition that without his critical technical abilities and effort, that Temple Sinai could not have maintained his high level of congregational involvement and participation. So that's really quite a kudos to, and hats off to you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
In other news, I did speak with Francis Sullivan, the son of Tom Sullivan, who passed away last month. And he thanks SMAS for reaching out and acknowledging and giving expression of condolence. I sent out a condolence card to Herbert Kahan's partner, Marjorie Wiesenthal, and his daughters and granddaughters. And that's pretty much it for me. Is there anybody else who has anything to say in terms of fellowship? Again, let's please keep in mind all our members who appreciate being contacted. John Sedlak, do you have any updates on your valve replacement surgery? Has that been scheduled yet?
No, that has not yet been scheduled. The oncologist and the cardiologist are coordinating and trying to get everything lined up so both my chemotherapy and my heart valve can work successfully together.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that they are actually talking. I haven't heard anything concrete.
Okay, well, we'll stay tuned, and clearly we'll keep you in our thoughts and best wishes.
Thank you. I'm feeling pretty good, so I'm happy about that.
That's great.
David,
Yeah.
This is Jerry. How are you doing?
Yeah, I think I'm going to live.
That's good news.
The physical therapist has taken off my training wheels, and so I'm hoping to join the Wednesday walk before too long.
Good news. Thank you.
We have two people that have raised their hand. Ira. Ira, did you raise your hand? You wanted to say something? You're muted. Well, he's still muted.
Yeah, I did that quite a while ago. I thought a count was being taken for something else that came up. I think lunch at golf. I wasn't sure whether a vote was being taken then or not. It wasn't, obviously, and I didn't erase my hand. So disregard it.
Okay. Dick Fisher.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about Herb Kahn, and just as I unmuted, my phone rang and I had to mute again. So I do want to say something about Herb. First of all, he was a neighbor when I lived on Arnold Drive. He lived on Newfield Drive around the corner. And I was a member of, just that joined Temple Bethel a couple of years before, and had been elected to the Board of Trustees. So when he was president, I was on the board. I've seen him since then. He has been a fellow that is friendly to everybody he came in contact with, and I was very happy to see him join SMAS. He would walk through the crowd and say hello to everybody he knew. And I'm sorry to see that he's left us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick.
Okay, well, that's all for me.
Okay, thank you, David. Dick Harper with the book club.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. We're coming up on April 7th for the American Axis, which, as I had indicated before, is a kind of interesting view of the side of Henry Ford and Charles Lindbergh that we don't often see. It's not the best side of the two gentlemen, but it's a very interesting book, and it's really very balanced. Wallace is very careful to show various comments and sides of the aspects of the activities that they both got involved in. And then we got a May 5th book with David Attenborough, and he's pretty well known, I think, A Life on Our Planet. So that's kind of into the natural history realm, which is interesting change for us. So that's May 5th.
Thank you. Thank you, Dick. I don't know, Dick Fisher or Stu, one of you want to talk about the Stamford Senior Center?
Dick should do that.
Sure. It is time for something new for us because we don't have our usual fundraiser. So the Senior Center is having a spring appeal. And as you can see by the screen, we're asking for contributions. It has a top of $3,000 if you're a platinum sponsor, but we'll take any money because we have continued with our activities. Today, if you were a member, you could be going to get ice cream at the JCC. So we're doing things like that to keep the membership active and some connection. So if you can give us a little money, we would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Does anyone have any items for discussion? Please raise your hand. Okay, I don't see anything. Anyone have a hand raised? Any jokes? Jerry?
Not a joke. Not a joke. I just wanted to know, Joe, if for those who don't know, can you translate Aziz Pesach?
Now you're asking too much. Something about Passover, blessed Passover, happy.
No, it means a sweet Passover.
Sweet Passover.
I knew I'd catch on something.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Joe. I apologize.
I just had my the neighbors come around this time. They wouldn't give the English translation. Yeah, no, it was great growing up where I did in the Bronx. you know, where I was, it was maybe 80% Italian, 20% Jewish, and the rest, maybe some Irish and German. And as we moved the next 6 blocks, the percentages just changed to where it became more Jewish and then lesser Italian, and till you got the Pelham Parkway area, and it was 100% Jewish. So yeah, it was a great area. We had good friends. I think a lot of people grew up in the Bronx, or I think Bronx was unique because you really only had, you had an Irish area, but the main ethnic groups were Italian and Jewish.
Joe, I wish you a decent Easter.
Thank you, Jerry. That'll be next week. All right, jokes. We got time for a couple of jokes. You know, this reminded me at a time when I was visiting my cousin's farm, and some woman was riding by on a bicycle, and I yelled out "cow," and she turned around and gave me the middle finger, and then she rode into the cow, and I tried. Jerry? Jerry,
okay, I got one here. This couple were driving in Ireland, and they stopped to ask a guy standing on the corner for directions. And they said, "Could you tell us the quickest way to Dublin?" And he says, "Well, now," he says, "are you walking or are you driving?" And they said, "We're driving." And he said, "That's the quickest way."
Good one.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
Anyone else? Phil? Unmute yourself, Phil.
Sorry about that. And I don't have a joke, but I did speak with Debbie Sofayer, who is our host when we come and meet at the Fish Church. I spoke with her earlier this week, and I just checked with David Van Dyke, the minister. They both advised me there is nothing new, no update with regard to the use of the facility. Still running very cautious with an abundance of caution.
Thank you, Phil. Yeah, I mean, all our plans are basically going to depend upon state regulations requiring distancing and facility, imposed restrictions. But so until we know further, I mean, all we can do is anticipate different scenarios. Okay. Well, we're waiting. Haven't seen Julie.
Yeah, I believe Julie joined us.
She did?
I think so. Yep, but her video is not on yet, and I don't see any audio.
Okay. It might be that she's going to be displaying her photo only.
I don't see her on.
I saw Angela is on. That's a person who works with her.
Yeah, I see Julie, no audio, and the video is blocked up.
They were going to try to get a camera, but they were not thinking they were going to make it. And it's
Angela's not on.
She was a couple minutes ago. I saw her.
Yeah, the name came up and now it's off.
Yeah.
Well, they got 10 minutes to
yeah. Going. All right. Any